And we are here. We are here. We are here again in the building. Shout out to everybody that's coming through. Uh, when we get finished, you can check out the link in the description. It's going to give you the link to Mahogany Roots. And it's a couple of fellas over there on her channel last night. And we had a great conversation. This was coming from perspective of married me. Their thoughts, their views. You know, conversation might not be for all, might be only for some, but to a degree, it was a great conversation nevertheless, and came from the perspective of a man's thoughts and what sometime a woman might be feeling and want to know. So it was a great conversation overall. I looked at it from a money side. You know, shout out to the people coming in, young eyes, love to talk. What's going on? So, like I say, you can go ahead and check out that link with Mahogany Roots. There's a couple of fellas over there, married guys, and we were just, over there discussing, typical marriage stuff, as far as the men with their wives, what was the love at first sight or something to a degree. And overall, like I say, just great conversation, but it kind of dug into what I normally talk about, finance and, a self reflection of you. And I gave, to my knowledge, and I think some good advice towards the end when they was talking about getting married nowadays to make what's going on. And I told people to kind of find themselves before they get married, because the thing of it is everybody's rushing to be the first. Everybody's rushing to, live a certain lifestyle, but you got to know what you're getting yourself into. And knowing what you're getting yourself into mainly predicated on you actually, knowing yourself. A lot of people don't know themselves. So they tend to have issue with, certain things, certain gripes, and, you know, nevertheless, say the least, when it comes down to it, Wanda, how you doing? What's going on? And as far as the money aspect, um, Mahogany had a question about finance, on a level of one to ten. How financially understanding do your significant other needs to be? And to me, I'd say it was a five. I'm coming from mine, but you guys can go back and look at the video and look what everybody else wrote too as well and gave their opinion about things. But overall, I said a level five because if my wife got when I got with her, she didn't know anything about finance. As long as she known the basics about paying bills and understand that she got to put money aside, just the basic small things, then I can handle the rest. We can talk over finance together. I can teach her things that she don't know. She probably could teach me some I don't know. But the whole point, finance is not a big concern, with me because if I know what I'm doing, it's not a big concern. Now, if I was to the point where I didn't know how to budget or do finance well, then it would concern me to kind of be with somebody that actually know what they're doing, know how to save, be in a position. Um, Overall, like I said, great discussion last night. Mahogany brought, four guys on the panel, and we all had our different opinions, our different thoughts on topics, you know, self reflecting on times that we got together. Um, you know, the 1 out of 10 was pretty good because it kind of showed a light. But one of the questions about sex being 1 out of 10, a lot of men were saying seven. Um, Me personally, I said nine because the difference between a friend and my wife was the sex aspect, and more or less, like I was, explaining to him, I'm not paying my friends' bills. I'm paying my wife's bill. You know, and in my opinion, I always say sex is a part of marriage. You know, and to a degree, it's more or less depending on how much or how little, how more you have sex, depending on that. But to that degree, it's personally up to the individuals and their relationship. But overall, going on, Black Money in the building. But overall, like I said, it was a great discussion. Y'all can go look at the link. And like I said, we talked about, a good little bit of stuff about marriage and like I said, self-reflect. A lot of times, even with the money situation, about budgeting, about us having the point of us getting together and doing some things, hey, it all evolved around, a man loving a woman and they're coming together for a relationship. And overall, a lot of times people kind of, get an understanding of what they want out of a relationship by looking at others and making this point. D. Durrell, he made a good, point on this because the reason why he mainly got married as well too, because he said, I seen it in my family structure. He said, I seen my mom and dad were together. I seen my neighbors, my friends that had mom and dads, they were in a relationship. So it was only fitting of him to get married. And he said he got married, pretty typically pretty young, but I got married younger than him. I think he got married at 27. I got married at 25. And, like I explained to them, me being married at 25, I knew what I wanted. And that goes back into me having, I always say, knowledge of self, because I wanted kids early. I wanted to have a family early. I wanted to be there for my kids. I didn't want to be an older guy raising younger kids. So that was something I wanted to do. But also within the book of me wanting to be married, that was one of the topics my wife asked me, pretty much saying that me wanting to be married, on the spot, checking out what's going on. And like I said, the link's in the description. I'm just, going over some things last night we talked about. But like I said, with me being married, that was the thing that I wanted. I wanted to have kids, but I also wanted to be married and staying in a household. I didn't want to just go ahead and, you know, get a woman and have kids with her. I wanted more out of that relationship. So that's a big thing that garnered me into getting married to my wife and us, having the kids together and the way we did it. One moment. Boss lady Denise in the building. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, so like I said, overall last night it was a great discussion on Mahogany's channel. We were over there having conversations about marriage. And like I say, it was one of the key things that I focus on when I do my channel, as far as just even in a relationship or marriage, but more or less the aspect of the money and you being yourself, how you gonna garner the relationship. So that's what, pretty much a hit. APTV. What's going on? Absalom Pianka TV. And like I say, everybody has their and everybody has their wrenches to where they can go and check out each other's channel. But like I said, the link is in the description of the video I was on last night. And you had about 4 guys on there that were married, to the sums of all of us been married for years. I think D Darrell has been with his wife the longest and married, over 17. I came in right around that time. Kay's been married for about 10. I think Alonzo, he's about 7 or so. But to a degree, it was great. A lot of guys up here talking about marriage. And nevertheless, within the YouTube space and stuff, this whole gender talk, you're not getting the perspective from the man side, which we talk about. And so it was quite good to me. Like I said, if you check out Mahogany Roots channel, I put the link in the description about the video last night. And overall, like I said, we're talking about having some more of these panels with the guys up here talking, especially the married guys, because time and time again, you always hear from the perspective of the single guys, the guys that got mistreated and stuff, but you never really hear the good part of marriage. Even I want to touch on this, but we kind of, went sideways with it according to the aspect of being married and money and say you looking for the divorce. And we kind of touched that line and backed off of it, but more or less, you know, like I said, I've been married 17 years. Uh Anniversary is in October the 12th. You know, everybody has their faults, everybody has their situations in a relationship that up and down, but overall, man, I don't see myself kind of stepping out or trying to leave. you know that's why I told my wife one of the biggest things when we got married was for forever. Like, that was my thing. I wanted to go ahead and get married, stay married, and we work it out. Like, I tell my wife all the time, when it comes as far as with cheating, I don't have no point of looking at cheating, but there's a point in the relationship that if we can't come to, an agreement on things, then we have to part ways, because the relationship is based on both, far as the money, far as, us dealing with sex. Sex, like I tell her, sex is a big part of marriage. A lot of women say, well, men are just on it for the sex and only the sex. Well, if that's the case, I tell most women, don't get married then. If you think sex is such a big thing or such a big issue to a point, then don't get married, because majority of men, that's one of the aspects of marriage is the sex and also the money part. A lot of times people don't talk. I gave advice last night to a lot of people, don't have these conversations before marriage. You know, they don't touch on the point of having kids. They don't touch on points of you know having conversation of how was your father, your mother, how were both of you raised, how were both you know parents, either they're still together or not, how are they doing things to the point which you like. And see, a lot of people don't have these conversations till it's too late. you know if you're in a situation to where you have a loving mother and father, and they pretty much take care of you, that's a great thing. You learn to pass them same values down to your kids. Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, hey, if marriage is not for you, then marriage is not for you. A lot of people tend to think that marriage is the be all. Hey, in most cases, marriage ain't for everybody. Everybody don't want to get married. Everybody don't want to have kids. You know, so I always talk about it best society standards. Society puts you in the standard of you got to get married, you got to have kids. There's other ways of making wealth besides bringing two incomes together. And the point of it is, we never have these talks, and that's one thing I like about Mahogany did last night. She kind of opened it up for us men to actually talk about this and give our viewpoints on us being married, having loving relationships, because obviously we still at home, We haven't left, you know. But the point of it is us having a conversation because sometimes your mind can change. You can wait a couple of years and might want to get married. Like my biggest thing, like I gave advice last night, said I didn't want to wait till I got older. The whole thing of having your fun in your 20s and then when you get in your later years, wanting to go ahead and say, well, I want to start having a good relationship. Let me go find a good woman, or let me go find a good man, as the women will say, in their later years, 30s and 40s. You had all your youth partying and playing and wilding, and now you want to settle down. Some people might be already on their purpose at a young age, and that's what I was looking through. Me at 25 getting married, it wasn't a thing that I say that when I was 24 or maybe 25 and be like, man, yeah, I wanna get married in my 20s. No, this was a thing that I was committed to because I seen it in my family, you know, grandparents, mother and father, you know, my father passed while my mother and my father was still married. They didn't get a divorce or nothing, you know. I started seeing a lot of my older family members got divorced, but it never deterred me because I seen all my other family members older still together. So I knew marriage would work. I knew I had a lot of advice from elders. That's one of the big things that a lot of times we don't push is, seeking wise counsel. You know, we can go to a therapist all day, learn this and learn that, but the wise counsel from the elders, Shannon B, what's going on, man? That pushes the point. You know, yeah, man. You getting to your later years trying to get married. Like the old people say, hey, that body don't move like it used to. Me and my wife was having this discussion last night after the panel, talking about being married for looks and for looks change over time. You might have a woman with a banging body in her 20s and 30s. In her 40s, she might start to get a little pouch up there, stomach. If you don't love that stomach, and I mean, you're gonna fall out of love because she get a little stomach or gain a little weight. So, says the least, when it comes down to it, if you marry for looks, you're gonna be disappointed when you get older. Unless both of y'all have 24-hour fitness gym memberships and both of y'all are forcing each other, pushing the limits, and that's something me and my wife do. Sometimes I got to get on my wife and like, let's go work out. Same thing with me. She got to tell me, hey, we working out tonight. No excuses. You got to put your significant other in that mode to do things. Like I've told about a friend that I had. His woman was a little on the healthy side, and she wasn't too big, but mainly she just a little above average. And it was to the point where they started working out. She started losing weight, and she was like really feeling herself because she looked so amazing. And the point of it was she was trying these different diets and things of that nature to the point where she was like, man, this dude actually put me in a, better mind frame to actually want to get out and, do these things and lose this weight. And I appreciate that. But some people they don't. I mean, some people just like, hey, it is what it is. But according to, you and your significant other, how you move and groove. If you're in a position to make her life better, then that's what most men do. Most men are sitting up here, you know, doing things to make their wives' life be better and easier. I most of the guys on the panel talked about they cooked and cleaned it to a point. Most of them didn't cook, but most of them cleaned at the house. Helped out around the house. That's like a big thing. If both men and women are working, I never like my wife. I never see a problem with cleaning the house. I never see a problem with helping out with the kids. Never see a problem with none of that stuff. I mean, it's literally crazy to the point where I hear guys be like, I don't cook. So you don't get on the grill? Well, I get on the grill, so you cook. Sometimes like I say, I come home, give my wife a break. Hey, um, let me go ahead and cook tonight. You just take off tonight, And majority of the time she cook a lot because I get off late. Now, if I get off early, yeah, a couple of times I might come home, cook, buy some stuff. Nevertheless, that's the relationship of both of us working it out together. Now, say the least, my wife, my friend, his wife, she don't work. He makes enough money to pay everything, and but besides, he has her doing other things far as within the family. So she might not work for a company, but she's still doing work within the family structure because he has different business and things he take upon. Tanisha, I've seen your channel before. I've seen passing through. I've been on your channel a couple of times. Well, I've actually haven't joined the live. I've been on your pre-records and stuff. But shout out to you. It makes it Tanisha, trying to give you a wrench over here is not working, but I'm gonna try to see if I can go back and do it so you can actually go and look at everybody's channel because got some great channels over here. April Showers in the building. You know, drop your links to your channel. You got wrenches. Drop your links to your channels. I'm over here. I like sharing, giving my perspective, letting other people, share their channels because I go to a lot of good channels with a lot of great information, you know, things that we can work on together, things that we can learn. I mean, the aspect of me being around the guys in the, manosphere space, it was to a point for me learning things because I can't sit here and say the like a certain man or a certain style of the way you do things are wrong. And I don't, kind of learn your ways and see what's the issue or if there an issue anyway to what's going on and what you're talking about. So I've always looked and said, okay, well, let me check out this person, see what they talking about. I don't want to say that you're a bad person because you said something reckless. There's channels I've been on that they said something, maybe they had a bad day. Maybe this is how you are all the time. And it doesn't, kind of work with what I'm doing or what I'm talking about or, how my way of life is. But I get it. That's your life. That's what you do. That's your content. But at the same time, hey, maybe somebody else can be influenced by it. Check out everybody's channel. If everybody can drop their link. And matter of fact, when it comes, thank you, Miss April Showers. You can drop Tanisha's link as well for her channel. And she talks about a lot of spiritual things, about the Bible. And, I go over there, have my moment of grace. But, like I said, getting into marriage to a degree. Check out the link in the description. Like I said, I put the link in the description. And we were just over there having a good conversation about marriage, things in marriage, when did we first meet, all that. Like I said, it ties into what I always talk about. The money ties into me talking about, knowledge of self, being you, you know. And my advice, like I said, I gave, you must find yourself before you get married. Because say you get married for 5 years and you married for lust, then the marriage won't last. Let's say you get in a marriage for 5 years and you only married for the look, then the marriage won't last because the point of it is a lot of times the older you get, you start to find yourself and then you start having a revelation of like, why am I here? There's so many people that have these conversations to themselves or talk to people and say I wasn't ready to get married. You know, I hear this all the time. Buy you sugar in the building. Yeah. A lot of times people get married and say, why did I get married? I don't even really love this person. Because the older you get, the more mature you get. You kind of put away this childish mentality. And that's what a lot of people end up facing in their lives to the point where they're doing things for the wrong reasons. You know, even with the aspect of having kids, I gave my friend this advice because he wanted to be in his kid life so bad that he was going to marry his girlfriend, but he really didn't like her. And I told him, I was like, you don't have to marry that woman to be in that kid's life. I mean, personally, you shouldn't have never had the baby in the first place, but the baby's here. There's nothing else you can do about it. The thing of it is, y'all have a good relationship far as for the child, you know, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna be forced to get married by any means, whether it be a child or any other circumstances. I have to truly, genuinely want to be with a person and love them to get married. And, you know, from the aspect, even with finance, we have to have some level of understanding. I can't sit here and just deal with a person for the sake of just dealing with. No, we have to have some level of financial understanding. I can't be saving all the money while you're spending all the money, you know. And a lot of times people don't look at that when getting married, looking towards the future. Like, what are your future goals? That was a couple of things I asked my wife, about financially. Like, what do you see yourself in a couple of years? You want to get a house? You want to get, more cars? I told her my dream before even I own my own first business while I was with my wife was to own a business. That was one of the things I told her. I want to own a business, want to own a house. I want to have, a boy and a girl. End up having twin boys. But the point of it was, hey, I had my kids and that was it. Let me see this. But go ahead and drop it now because I couldn't actually put you as a moderator so I can give you a wrench and things. Yeah, I mean, it's so true. The older you get, the more you realize things, to come to pass. So a lot of people start focusing more on the future because tend to be that's where a lot of people want to get married in their older years because they're thinking about, what's going to happen in the future, who's going to be there for me, who's going to take care of me, and it poses a big issue. So, looking into it, say the least. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off, but just having an understanding and perspective of life. You know, Queena's in the building. What's going on, Queena? And a lot of times we'll have situations to where we look back on and have an understanding to say, okay, I've been with this person for so many years. Like, what do we gain together? Like, what understanding, what new level or position are we in? Because some people will just be together for the sake of being married. Like I said, it's like a badge, like a promotion at the job, but then you really don't like the job, you just like the pay. And some people, that's how it is in those relationships. They don't really like the job, but they like the pay. So we got to start focusing more on, us being in a relationship, us having an understanding, us working together and making it worth, wow. Everybody. And to a degree, everybody don't need to be married. Because if you're coming into a relationship selfish and only thinking about you, you know, I seen one where the lady she ended up taking her I guess husband money for his kid's surgery and went to the Beyonce concert. I don't think that's a relationship he should have been in the first place. For her to be that selfish, I don't think that's a relationship she should have been in the first place. Same rules apply for a guy. Seen this video with a guy. He didn't work. The woman worked two jobs, and she left her phone. And the guy went through the phone and seen how she was talking junk about him. And she called his phone, and he thought he ignored it, but answered it. And he was in the back saying, "That's why I cheat on her because she don't value me." And I'm like, dude, you ain't got no job. She has two jobs. You driving her car, you sleeping in her house. Well, 9 times out of 10, he's doing some side hustling stuff. But nevertheless, that goes against both. Underrated darkness. What's going on, brother? What's going on, brother? Hey, everybody, check out the link in the description at the end of the video if you could. That is the video for Mahogany Roots. We had a conversation over there talking about marriage, and it was a quite good information that we just had a little small talk, and it's something that we're gonna build on. Hopefully, we can get a lot of the other guys that was on the panel last night to kind of have that on their channels, and we kind of share it out and work with each other. This is something big underrated. You can touch on as well too. Try to get a couple of these guys and do a build on that because it was a good turnout. And nevertheless, like I said, I'm gonna jump off of here this time for real. Um, you know, just have an understanding about yourself. I always push the self, the self, the self. If you can garner yourself in anything aspects, shout out to the 9 laws of self-govern, discipline yourself, you can work through it. And with that being said, shout out to everybody. All right, underrated. You going live at 10:10? Cool. I'll be there. I'll be there at 10:10. Shout out to underrated. And just having an understanding, y'all, we got to work together. We got to build something. We got to start listening back to our elders. That whole thing, this new generation that old people don't know nothing. It's to a degree where it helps and sometimes it hurts. So we truly got to have this understanding. You know, shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to underrated for the 10:10 going live at 10:10. Like I say, y'all go to each other's channels, check each other's channels out. You know, underrated. Drop your link real quick before I pull out, so people know the link, and if they not sub, they can go ahead and sub. But overall, like I say, just that self awareness of you, then going into the aspect of you having an understanding for yourself. Yeah. Like I said, the link is in the description for the video from last night. You guys can go back and just go look at over that. Great content, great information. You know, a lot of the guys over there, we just, had a great little talk. But with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. I always say, okay, I gotta be good about checking my emails. All right, Ape, I got you. Buddha's in the building. What's going on, Buddha? Yeah. Like I say, everybody check out that link in the description. We was over there live last night, and hit the replay. With that being said, shout out to everybody in the building. Once again, you know what I always say at the end? We here and we gone.